Namaste yogis, my name is Abigail and this short sequence will be a quick trip around the hips to open all of the areas around the pelvis. And so we'll focus on opening the front of the thigh, the outer hips, the inner leg, as well as the back of the leg. So for this short practice, you will need a strap, a blanket, and possibly a block or two as well. And we'll start lying down in Supta Dandasana with your strap. So you'll want to make a loop that's fairly large. You can always change it as we get set up. So make a loop, put yourself in it, so up and over your head, and then you'll slide it so that it's right at the tips of your shoulder blades. And then you'll put your feet in the front of the strap to extend your legs towards the ceiling. And depending on your hamstrings and the calves and the backs of the heels, you might make a larger loop. You also might make a smaller loop. But get yourself situated in Supta Dandasana with the support of the strap. You've got a pretty good look of your toes, so give them a good spread. And start to heavy up the back of the pelvis. Tuck your chin slightly and soften around your belly and your breath. And we'll spend just a couple of moments in this first pose to open up the back of the hips, so the hamstrings are part of the whole hip circumference. And so do your best to soften the backs of the legs as they open with the help of the strap. Let's take a couple more breaths here. Just allow for soft back pelvis, soft belly, and soft eyes. You can even close your eyes here if you'd like. And then keep your right foot in the strap. Just slip your left foot out. And depending on just the right hamstring being in that big loop, you may adjust depending, tighter or looser strap. And then really start to firm up your right leg, spread your right toes, and you have the option to keep your left foot on the floor, or you can extend your left leg long. Supta P1 variation. And then we try to stay soft in the belly and the face, so breathe. Stretch up through your right heel. And last couple of breaths on first side. If you straightened your left leg, you can bend your left knee and then slide the left foot into the strap and take the right foot out of the strap and switch for the second side. So depending on the left back of the leg, you may determine tighter or looser strap is needed, so adjust accordingly. And then spread your left toes, really squeeze your left thigh. Then you have the option on the right leg to either keep the knee bent or extend the right leg long. Breathe, soften your face, let the back of your pelvis be heavy as you stretch and open the back of the left leg. Last couple of breaths, side two. And then you can bend your right knee, slide your right foot back into the strap, Supta Dandasana, back to where we started. Really give your legs a squeeze, spread your toes, and let the back of your pelvis be nice and heavy and grounded. Take a few final breaths with this strap. All right, and then you can bend your knees, take your strap off your feet. You can additionally take the strap off yourself, so set it off to the side, just out of the way. And then keep your left knee bent, left foot on the floor, and draw your right knee into your chest. Apanasana on the right. Give your right knee a squeeze. You can massage a little bit. Move the knee around to massage out the right hip flexors a little. And then from here, you'll take your right foot into your hand and your right foot up, shin parallel, or rather perpendicular, heel over knee, and happy baby on the right. Gently pull your right heel down, spread your right toes. You could use your strap here if you needed to. And start to plug the right knee towards the right armpit. Put a little pressure into your left foot so the pelvis stays level, and breathe. Take another breath, happy baby on the right. And then draw your right foot towards your left hip flexor and widen your right knee. Pick up your left knee, figure four. Interlace your hands around the left shin or behind the left thigh. Press the outer right ankle into the left thigh and broaden your collarbones as you gently pull your left knee toward your chest and gently nudge your right knee away from you. Breathe easy, breathe soft, and spread all of your toes. Bottom of your next breath, release your hands. Keep your figure four set up, but tip to the left. So your right foot lands on the floor. Hold the front of your right ankle with your left hand, and then you do your best to spin your back body back to the mat. Press into the right foot, nudge the right knee away from you, and spin your belly to the right. You can optionally reach your right arm on the diagonal and look to the right as you turn. Take big breaths into that right lung, that right outer hip. And then keep the shape, but bring your right arm down by your right hip. Scoot your left foot up. Nudge, nudge, nudge that right foot up. Maybe you can reach for your left toes with your right hand and continue the turn, the twist of the belly to the right. Tuck your tail underneath you. Pull on both hands gently. You might catch a little thigh stretch on the left and an outer hip stretch on the right. Last breath. Release your hands, release your head back to center, and then you'll simply just tip your setup to the middle, uncross the right leg, and pause. Second side, right knee stays bent and foot's on the floor, left knee pulls to the chest, and you can do a little bit of rocking, a little bit of squeeze for the left hip flexors, Apanasana. And then when you're ready, you'll transition to half happy baby on the left. So bring your sole of your left foot towards the ceiling. Interlace your hands around the foot and just gently start to nudge your left knee towards your left armpit. Press up through the left heel and then feel for that evenness in the back of your pelvis. So you might push a little bit into the right foot to help with that. Breathe. And then after your next breath, you can start to direct your left heel, crossing the midline towards your right thigh. Pick up your right thigh and place the outer ankle there for figure 4. Left knee heads away from you. You can interlace your hands in front of the right shin or behind the right thigh for figure 4, side 2. Spread your toes, broaden your collarbones, and take big breaths into that outer left hip. As you nudge it away, give a little pull in. So you pull in on the right, nudge away on the left. And take another big breath or 2 here. And then you'll release your hands and just switch your setup to then dash off to the right. So left sole of the foot lands on the floor. Hold the front of your left ankle with your right knee, and then do your best to flatten your back body to the mat. Left arm reaches on the diagonal, and you can spin your belly to the left, look to the left, and catch some space for that outer left hip. Nudge your left knee away from you and breathe wide into that left lung. And then roll back through center with the head. Release the left arm and bring it down by your left hip. Start to nudge and scoot this right foot up, 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 up. And try to catch your right toes with your left hand. And then tuck your tail and re-spin your belly to the left. Press down through your left foot. Nudge the left knee away. Scoop the tail under and breathe. Gently pull with both arms. Final breath. And then you can release your hands. Carefully bring your setup back to center and pause in the middle, knees bent. And we'll roll to the left side. Roll onto the left side. And if you have a hard floor underneath you and your knees are sensitive, we're going to be in the inner knee a little bit. You could slide a blanket out in front of you and you're on your left side. Stack up your legs, rest your head in your left palm. And then tuck your tail a little bit, pull your belly back and spread your toes. From here, pick up your right leg. Point your right toes and start to squeeze your right heel towards your right bun. So a little knee flexion and then hamstring glute work. Hold. And then if you need a strap, you can grab one or reach with your right hand for the outer right ankle for the sideline quad stretch. Tuck your tail, so scoop the tail down towards the left heel, and any amount pull right heel, right foot closer with the help of your hand. And if you feel wobbly, dig your left outer foot into the floor a little bit. Pull your belly back and breathe. Awesome. Release the right foot. This time, sweep the right knee extension. So straighten the leg, sweep it in front of you, and then plant this inner right knee to your blanket. That wasn't the most graceful, but inner right knee to blanket. Spin your belly to the floor so you're in a half frog. So my right knee is right out from my right hip. I'm going to come up onto my forearms, interlace my hands like a variation of Sphinx pose. Sharpen up this inner right foot. Press the left top foot down and lift your chest up. Do your best to soften that inner right leg as best you can and breathe. Maybe this is the end of the road, or you potentially straighten your right leg straight right out to the right. So the heel is more or less in line with your hip. Re-engage the inner right foot, lift the chest, press the left foot down, and think about nudging your right buns, the sitting bone on the right especially, towards your left heel. Take another big breath, lifted, inhale. And then exhale, keep all the action in your legs, but soften your torso down. Rest your head on your hands. Stay like this or create a little additional side bend. You'll lift yourself up and kind of nudge yourself to the right. Reach with your left fingers to the left. Maybe you could hook your right fingers around your right big toe. Inhale, lift up. Exhale to soften and fold. Stretch the left side, reach through the right inner foot, and nudge your right bun towards your left heel. Let's give this another breath or two. And then soften all of your action. You can walk yourself back through center. And then pull this right leg in to meet the left leg. And just pause, belly down, Shavasana. And then when you're ready, you can just simply roll to the other side. Come to lie on your right side. Keep your blanket handy if you used it on the first side. And we'll stack up side lying Tadasana. Rest your head in your right palm. Spread your toes and give your belly a good squeeze back. From here, pick up your left foot, point your left toes, and then do the knee flexion to pull the heel towards the left buns this time. And then if you need a strap, loop up or reach back with your left hand for the left ankle. Get a little sideline thigh stretch going on here. Tuck your tail, and if you feel wobbly, really press the outer right foot into the floor and draw your belly back. The more you tuck your tail down, the more potential for space across the left hip. Take a final breath. And then you'll release that action, soften your left arm, and then sweep the leg in front of you, bend at the left knee, left hip, and then we land in that half frog shape right on the blanket if you would like to use it. And then spin your torso towards the mat with the left knee right out from the left hip. All right, active arms, so interlace your hands or take your Sphinx variation of choice. Press down, lift the chest, and then press the top of the right foot. Dig the inner right, inner left shin, and inner left foot into the blanket setup. Breathe. Think about nudging your left bun, sitting bone down towards your right heel to lengthen the low back a little bit. You stay here if this is end of the line, or you can stretch your left leg straight, inner left foot still to the floor. Right bun's working, lift the chest, stretch through the inner left leg and breathe. Keep your legs active, but soften the torso. Come down for a moment. You can stay here, or you could crawl yourself over into a little bit of a side bend. So you walk yourself to the left. Reach your right arm on the diagonal, maybe grab your left big toe with your hands, depending on your length of arms. Inhale, lift up. Exhale to slowly fold off to like 10 o'clock. Keep your legs active, squeeze your thighs. Draw the left sitting bone towards the right heel and breathe wide into that right lung. Get a good stretch for the inner leg here. Last breath. And then release that action. You can bring your torso back to center. Take your left leg next to your right leg and take the belly down. Shavasana. And then from here, you can slide your hands underneath your shoulders, tuck your toes, press back to child's pose. You can take child's pose with the toes tucked or not. But active arms, press the mat away, lift the underside of your arms and really push forward, melt your chest towards the mat, send your hips towards your heels. And then when you're ready, tuck the toes if they're not already, lift your hips, downward facing dog. Stretch the heels back and down. Give the backs of the legs a little more stretch. Relax your head and your neck. And then commit to a still dog for a few breaths. Draw your navel towards the front of your spine and spread your toes, firm the thighs. Good. From here, our final series, step your right foot between your hands. And then you're going to just slide your left shin, left knee forward so that you land in a half virasana. So the left leg is in the virasana shape and the right leg is bent, right foot's on the floor. Now you could very well just stay like this, walk your hands back and lift your chest up. You could also prop as needed, right? So block or blanket, and you potentially could straighten the right leg if you would like. You have the option to stay sort of at halfway, or you can come back maybe to your forearms, or if you're going all the way, you can lie fully back. I like to slide my right hand under my right hip, so I have a little bit of lift and I can feel the levelness in the pelvis here. So you can lift that right sitting bone if you need to. But draw your belly back and really flush your breath across the front of the left thigh. Soften your shoulders, soften your collarbones, and breathe easy. Breathe fully. Give your tail one more good tuck. Pull your belly towards the front of your spine. Last breath. And then if your leg is straight on the right, bend the right knee. And then you'll use your mat, kind of grab, especially if you're all the way back, grab the side edges of your mat and try to lead with your chest to pull you up. And then you can lean forward, fingertips to the mat, give that left knee a good stretch in a lunge. Stretch the left foot back, you can rock forward and back a little bit. And then walk your right foot to the left and drop your right knee maybe towards your right wrist for pigeon. All right, square off the hips as best you can towards the front short edge of your mat. Make sure those left toes are all lined back up, back there. And then lift the chest, push into the fingertips. Take an inhale. As you exhale, you can start to hinge forward any amount, maybe using your yoga blocks. Coming to the forearms, we'll be here for just a couple of breaths. Draw your right hip back and your left hip forward. Create a little bit of buoyancy in the inner thighs by a little lift of your pelvic floor and a lift of your belly. And take a final breath here. And then walk your hands back if you lowered any amount. Tuck your left toes and you'll transition your right knee right into the center. Slide your left knee behind your right knee. Feet kick wide, Gomukhasana, right knee on top. Now I often benefit from a blanket lift in the sitting bone that doesn't want to ground very well, or the opposite one I should say. So I'm gonna slide a blanket under my left sitting bone to help heavy the right sitting bone. Build your props as much as you need to. Sharpen the outer edges of your feet and then lift your chest up. We'll be here just straight up for 2-3 breaths. Soften the outer hips as best you can. Spread your toes and breathe. Last big breath. All right, if you're on a prop, go ahead and scoot your sitting bones off of it. And then we'll transition to Sukhasana from here. So your right shin will be in front. Push your knees in, widen your feet so the outer edges of your feet are flush with maybe the outer edges of your mat. Feel free to sit on a blanket if you would like. Spread your toes, bring your arms by your sides, inhale, lift up. Exhale, fold forward any amount, just in the center, maybe to fingertips. Stay lifted in the front of your spine. Sharpen the outer feet, take another inhale, and take another exhale, maybe you fold a little more. Spread those toes, and take another breath here. Keep the shape, the walk to the left. Lift up a little bit, left hand outside the left hip, right arm on the diagonal. Inhale, extend up. Exhale, fold forward over your left knee. Think about reaching from the right outer hip to the right fingertips in a little bit of spin of your belly to the left. Take another full cycle of breath here. Spread your toes. And then lift up out of there, crawl through the center, and head over, pelvis lift up. And you can stretch your legs forward, Dandasana, spread your toes, squeeze the thighs, lift the chest. Feel free to use your strap if you need to. Inhale, arms by ears, reach up. Exhale, fold forward, grab the outer feet for Paschimottanasana. Spread your toes, lift the front of your spine, and then you can hinge and fold any amount towards your shins. Try to keep your spine lifted and press the heels down and isometrically pull them back so they don't actually move, but like you could do some hamstring curls in this shape. Draw your shoulders out of your ears, spread those toes, take a final breath. And then you can release your feet, cross at your ankles, and take downward facing dog. Stretch the heels back and down, give the thighs a good squeeze, and relax the head and the neck as you push forward with the hands. Let's do all that on the second side. Look forward, step your left foot, and then you'll slide your right knee inside the left inner foot there for the half virasana. So you have the same options you had on the first side. You can prop yourself up as needed and start to make your descent using any props that are helpful. Maybe you come to your forearms, or maybe you start that full supine work. And you've got the option to keep the left knee bent, or you can extend your left leg long. I'll leave that up to you. I like to prop under my left sitting bone with my left hand to help level out the pelvis. And then give your tail a good tuck, pull the navel down, and breathe. And give your chin a slight tuck, give your tail another tuck, and really flush the front of your right thigh with your breath. Last 2-3 breaths here. And if your left leg is straight, you'll bend your left knee. You can grab the side edges of your mat if you're fully supine to help lift your chest up. And then crawl yourself forward, send your right leg back into a lunge, give your right knee a good squeeze. And then walk your left foot to the right, angle the shin on the left, setting up for pigeon. Wrap your right thigh down and wrap the left thigh back a little. Stay on the fingertips for just a moment. Find that nice buoyancy in the inner thighs. Inhale, lift up. And then exhale, you can decide to fold any amount. We'll be here for just a couple breaths. Keep the inner thigh hug and the belly lift as well. last breath or two here. And then walk your hands back. Tuck your right toes, slide your left knee to the center, and then slide your right knee behind your left. Gomukhasana, side 2. Feel free to sit up on something. If you like to prop up, you can do that briefly here. Widen the feet, sharpen the outer edges of the feet. And then we stay upright briefly. Lift the chest, soften the sitting bones, spread the toes. Take a final breath here. And then if you are sitting kind of like I was on one prop corner, you can slide that out and transition to Sukhasana, left shin in front. Knees in, feet out, hands by the sides, inhale, lift up. Exhale, start to fold forward, right in the center, maybe in the fingertip, a little bit of lift in the spine still. Spread the feet, inhale, lift up one more time, and then exhale, start to fold a little deeper. Send the sitting bones back, send the chest forward, keep a little lift in the front of your spine, and then walk to the right. Right hand outside the right hip, left arm on the diagonal, inhale, lift up, and then exhale, fold over your right knee. Think about reaching from your left hip to your left fingertips. Breathe wide into the left lung. Final breath here. And then lift up from your twist, walk your hands back to center, head over pelvis, lift up. And then from here, we'll transition to wide Uptavishta. So you can sit on a blanket if you'd like. Widen the legs. Feel free to incorporate your blocks if you'd like. Spread your toes, make sure your knees point straight up, and then arms by the sides. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, start the fold forward between the inner thighs. Dig the heels down and back. So down into the mat, isometrically back towards your buns. Spread your toes, take another inhale, and then exhale, you can lower any amount more. We'll spend several breaths here. Legs are active, belly's pulled back. Squeeze the thighs and breathe. And take a final couple of breaths. Re-engage your legs, send your sitting bones back behind you as you extend your heart forward. Bottom of your next breath, start to walk your hands back. Pull the legs together in front of you. Give your shins a little hug, squeeze, lift up. And then we'll find ourselves back lying in supine position. Feel free to grab one block on the way. And bend your knees when you arrive. Check in with your breath and check in with the back of the pelvis. And then set your block off to the left, like flat side, outside your left hip. Pull your right knee in just briefly, and then cross the right knee, extend your left leg straight, I should say, and then cross the right knee over to the left. We'll take just a gentle supine twist. I like the block right underneath my left calf, and then I can spin my chest gently to the right. Left hand can help weight the right outer thigh. Right arm can kind of loosely hang to the right. Breathe gently, but breathe fully into that right side. And take a final breath here. And then you can release that twist. Come back to center, set your block off to the right if you're using it, and then extend your right leg straight, pull your left knee in, and then cross the midline to twist left leg to the right. You can rest the knee on a prop as you'd like, and then left arm is loose to the left. You can weight your left thigh with your right palm and just breathe easy into the left side. Maybe that left low back catches a little space as well. And then when you're ready, you can untwist, set your block to the side, and we'll take the full happy baby to complete. So shins both lift, feet to the ceiling, pull down gently with your arms like you're trying to plug both knees towards the armpits. You can rock a little bit side to side if you'd like. And then when you're ready, we'll take a final rest. So extend your legs long, make yourself comfortable for the last few minutes of this sequence, ending with Shavasana. Find a slight tuck of your chin to your chest. Soften the whole circumference of the pelvis, so the fronts of the hips, the outer hips, the inner leg, the buns, the hamstrings. Allow for all that to be easy as you enjoy some quiet and some stillness. Don't change anything, but just start to deepen your breath. Make some small movements of the head and the hands and the feet. And then eventually letting your movements get bigger and bending at the knees and slowly rolling to one side. Keep your eyes soft and your head heavy. And after a breath or two on your side, you can slowly press yourself to sit. Feel free to sit on a prop to close practice. Hopefully it feels pretty, or not necessarily easy, but easier to sit for these last moments of practice with all of the hip work. Feel for the head right over the center of the pelvis, really lift through the back skull. And soften your shoulders and check in with your breath. And then you can meet the hands at the heart and slightly bow forward, head towards heart. So my hope for all of us is that our yoga practice continues to support us and nourish us into this class's case, the health of our hips and opening some of those sticky spots. And may that benefit us not only when we're on the mat, but off the mat. Namaste.